Giving up your U.S. passport, it's a permanent, truly life-changing decision. And for a growing number of Americans living abroad, it's a financial one too. But here's the thing. Get it wrong, and you could be facing a massive, totally unexpected tax bill. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know. Now, you might be thinking this is all about politics, or maybe a change of heart about the country. But for almost everyone who takes this huge step, the reason is actually a lot simpler: taxes. Let's take a look at the one-of-a-kind U.S. tax roll that really pushes people to this point. You know, it all boils down to this concept called citizenship-based taxation. See, most countries on Earth tax you based on where you live. If you live in Spain, you pay taxes to Spain. Simple, right? But the U.S., well, the U.S. is different. It taxes its citizens on their income from all over the world, no matter where they call home. And that creates this double layer of super complex and often costly paperwork year after year. So when it comes to the actual cost of renouncing, everything, and I mean everything, comes down to one single question. Does the IRS consider you a covered expatriate? Your answer to this one question determines, well, everything. Yep, the IRS has this specific label for people who face these really serious financial penalties: a covered expatriate. If you can manage to avoid this label, the process is pretty straightforward. But if you don't, oh boy, it gets complicated and fast. But here's what's so surprising. This scary-sounding exit tax doesn't actually hit most people who renounce their citizenship. The real key is knowing if you meet the very specific thresholds. So let's just walk through the 3 tests the IRS uses to figure this out. Okay, so to get slapped with that covered expatriate label, you only have to meet one of the next 3 tests. That's it, just one. This isn't a cumulative score or anything like that. Failing any single test puts you right in that category. So, these are the 3 hurdles you gotta clear. We're gonna look at each one piece by piece, starting with the one that's usually the most straightforward: your net worth. First up, the net worth test. It's a pretty simple question, really. Is your worldwide net worth more than $2 million on the very day you renounce? And notice I said worldwide assets, not just your US stuff. And believe me, this is a very thorough calculation. The IRS wants to know the value of everything you own, from your house and stocks to your retirement funds and, yeah, even valuable art or crypto. From that big total, you subtract your liabilities, like mortgages and loans, and that gets you to your final net worth. All right. Number 2 is the tax liability test. The question here is this: was your average annual U.S. income tax bill over the last 5 years more than this 2025 threshold? Now, this isn't about your income. It's about the actual tax you paid. A lot of expats use things like foreign tax credits to get their U.S. tax bill down to 0, so they pass this test with no problem. And this brings us to the 3rd test, which is all about compliance. This one is the most controllable, but it's also a total trap for a lot of people, especially folks they call accidental Americans who had no idea they even had to file. If you can't check that box and certify that you're all caught up on your taxes for the last 5 years, you are automatically a covered expatriate. It doesn't matter what you're worth. So what happens if you fail one of those tests? What if you are considered a covered expatriate? Well, that's when you come face to face with the exit tax. Okay, so you're facing an exit tax. It's based on this idea called a deemed sale. The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's a hypothetical final garage sale of all your assets all over the world. The IRS then taxes you on the profit you would have made, even though you haven't actually sold a single thing. Now, there is a little bit of good news here. The IRS gives you a pretty big exclusion on that profit. For 2025, the first $890,000 of this unrealized gain is totally tax-free. You only pay tax on the gain that's above this amount. Let's walk through a quick example. Imagine your stock portfolio is now worth $2 million, but you originally paid $500,000 for it. That gives you a $1.5 million unrealized gain. So the IRS lets you subtract that exclusion we just talked about, almost $900,000. That leaves you with a taxable gain of $610,000. If you apply a capital gains tax rate of, say, 20%, you'd be looking at a one-time exit tax of over $120,000. Yikes. Okay, so this brings up a crucial point. Given the potentially high costs and the fact that you can't ever undo it, what are your other options? For a lot of people, just staying a citizen is actually way simpler and cheaper than they think. Let's just compare the costs side by side. For many people, the annual cost of just hiring a professional to stay compliant is way less than the one-time State Department fee of $2,350. And that's not even counting the possibility of a massive exit tax bill. Plus, thanks to things like the foreign tax credit, most expats who do file end up owing zero US tax anyway. And hey, if you failed that third test, the tax compliance one, there's a path forward for you. The IRS streamlined filing procedures. They were designed specifically for people who just, weren't aware of their obligations. It's a way to get compliant, often without any penalties, which then lets you either renounce cleanly or just stay a citizen without the headache. And this brings us to what you hold on to by staying a citizen. A decision isn't just about taxes. It's about losing the right to just live and work in the US whenever you want, losing that consular protection when you travel, and giving up the ability to easily pass citizenship on to your kids. These are really significant lifelong benefits. So the choice really comes down to this: a permanent, costly, and totally irreversible exit, or navigating the compliance system, which for so many people turns out to be far simpler and cheaper than they ever imagined. The question you've really got to ask yourself isn't just, can I leave, but does it actually make more financial sense to stay?